Cool. So hello everyone, my name is Kevin and I'd like to welcome you all to our latest Novedge webinar series episode. Today's webinar will be about Chaos Group's upcoming V-Ray plugin for Trimble's SketchUp. This webinar is a great opportunity to learn more about the all-new V-Ray 1.6 for SketchUp. Fernando is going to explore the full capabilities of the dome light feature, an irreplaceable tool when it comes to image-based lighting. Our presenter will also elevate your SketchUp visualization skills with V-Ray's displacement and proxy features. That will help you render infinite amount of geometry with no memory restrictions. Create materials faster and easier with the new and improved V-Ray materials and experience the benefits of using V-Ray for SketchUp to streamline scene setup and make quicker design decisions with instantaneous feedback. So that was a long intro, but for those who aren't aware, Fernando Rentas made a name for himself as a premier user of Rhinoceros and its plugin, especially V-Ray. He first encountered V-Ray with 3ds Max in 2006, and his jaw-dropping imagery made him a part of the ASGVIS team in early 2008. Upon joining Chaos Group USA in 2011, Fernando tests and supports V-Ray for Rhino and V-Ray for SketchUp, as well as training for nearly all V-Ray products. Today's webinar presentation is about 40 minutes long, and afterwards we'll have a brief Q&A session where Fernando will answer your questions live. So feel free to submit your questions to us at any time into the question box below. But before we get going with the presentation, here's an overview of what we do at Novedge. Okay. Interesting. There we go. Now, the Novedge webinar series is brought to you by Novedge.com. As one of the largest online design software stores, we offer a huge assortment of software solutions that cater to virtually every designer's need, including architects. So if you are interested in picking up a digital version of Chaos Group's most current version of V-Ray for SketchUp, please visit our product page for more information. However, if you're waiting for the newest version, 1.6, we'll be working tirelessly with Chaos Group to gear up for its eventual debut. And if you want to learn more about this product, I encourage you all to call and speak with our sales specialist, Bob Dare. You can reach him by his email address, bob@novedge.com. Now, and also, if you want to get a glimpse at who is changing the world of design one step at a time, please visit Novedge's very own blog. Every week, our interviews shine a light on those innovators whose work break out from the norm. For more details, please visit us today at blog.novedge.com. And to stay up to date with what's happening in the design industry, along with Novedge's latest webinars and product promos, do like us on Facebook. In our upcoming webinar, learn to take a view of your Revit model and transform it. When you're done, you will understand how to set up your model and use these drawing tools to generate beautiful drawings out of Revit using a variety of techniques and tools like object styles, line weights, filled regions, and detail components. Black Spectacles founder, architect, and online educator Mark Tier presents our next webinar. The webinar is free and will last about an hour, including the Q&A session. So if you want to sign up, head on over to novedge.com/webinar/82. Now, if you have to leave early by any chance, today's webinar is being recorded, so if you want to rewatch episode 81 in its entirety, as always, you can find it on our Novedge webinar series channel through Vimeo and YouTube. And with that said, Fernando, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Sweet. Okay. I will switch over to you to make you the presenter right about now. All right, attendees, let us know if you guys see his screen. I see it.
Yes, guy, can you see my screen?
Can you guys see it? Yes, that's good. Awesome. All right, take it away.
Okay. Hi, guys. My name is Fernando Rentas. As Kevin said, I'm the trainer and the official tester for Chaos Groups here in Baltimore. Today, I want to show you the different capabilities of V-Ray. This is the first time, actually, this is the first time that we are going to show what V-Ray for SketchUp 1.6 could do. So hopefully you can enjoy this presentation. I'm going to start with V-Ray dome lights. Prior to this dome light, to this new feature, the actual way to create image-based light illumination, we're using the HDRI light on the GI skylight, which is good, but that solution give us some troubles in terms of the way how we handle the illumination. So let me show you how was the old way that we used to create the image-based light. I opened the wrong scene file. So let me open the correct one. Here we go. This is the one for the dome light. As I said prior to the dome light, the correct or the workflow that we had to create an image-based light, we're using the HDRIs on the dome light on the environment, and also use the same HDRI on the reflection-refraction background. In this way, we are going to have an image to illuminate our model in the GI skylight, and an image or the same image as my background to get some reflection and refractions. I'm going to click render, and I want you to see what happened when we use that all workflow. Let's wait for a couple seconds. Also, I want to show you some of the new feature and a cool thing that we are adding on the UI or on V-Ray for SketchUp 1.6. Well, the illumination, it was good. We have a good illumination, good appearance. We have some trees in the background. Those trees are from the HDRI that we have. We have some reflection, but here they come the issues. We have some white splotches, do the bad sampling. Also, some of the objects could be appearing floating in the air due to the lack of shadows information. We have soft shadows everywhere, no matter that these HDRI have a good sun appearance inside the HDRI. So you can see some of the splotches that we have. This is not actually a good solution. We could get rid of those splotches and bad information if we increase the GI. So if we go to the irradiance maps and we increase the irradiance map solution, also we could go to the light cache and we can increase that light cache solution, and we could get rid of those error and have a good render. But even if we increase those settings, we are not going to have the sharp shadows because we are using only GI or environment light. But anyway, in order to remove those splotchiness there, those stain there, what we do in the past is go into the GI skylight and replace the detail HDRI or the big HDRI that we have there for a blurry version of the HDRI. So I'm going to open this blurry version so you can see we have a blurry version of the HDRI, very small, comparing with the regular one, which is this one. So very high details and very complex in terms of information. We switch for the blurry version of the same HDRI. Okay, let me open the blurry version of the HDRI. Click OK. I'm going to click OK again. I'm going to click render. So during the render, you are going to see that, again, the render is going to be fast. We are not going to have all the splotchiness that we have with the high quality HDRI on the GI skylight. But this solution brings us two major issues that we really don't want in our architectural rendering or any kind of render. And those issues are, again, blurry shadows. We still have some splotchiness inside the windows. Blurry shadows everywhere. And do we have a blurry image? We don't have a lot of contrast. We are losing contrast in our render. We don't have any gradients, lights fading at all. It's gonna be okay sometimes, but this is not the correct solution. This is not what I want on my render, on my production render. So I need a better solution to handle that kind of image. So that's why we introduced the dome light in this version. What the dome light really does, I'm going to create a dome light. The dome light is this icon here. I'm going to create a dome light. Right now, you have to select the location for the dome light, and then select the radius. In this way you have more control where you want to place the dome light. I'm going to right click on the dome light, and then I'm going to select Visual SketchUp Edit Lights. The idea is to use exactly the same HDRI that I have, the high resolution one, in the dome light. I'm going to change the UVW type to environment, and I'm going to use spherical, which is the same information that I have in my environment. So I'm going to use spherical to make that dome light a 360 sphere around my whole image. And also I'm going to increase the subdivision to get rid of the noise that the dome light could produce. The cool thing about the dome light is that V-Ray analyzes the brightest spot of the HDRI that we are using and produce direct light from those brightest spots. So now we are not dealing with just environmental lights, we are dealing with direct lights. And when you are dealing with direct light, you have a lot of benefit. For example, you have better caustic, you can have better shadows, better contrast, and if you are doing animation, you can have a flickering free animation. So I'm going to click OK in my setting, and I'm going to remove the environmental light. I don't need the GI skylight. I don't need the background because I'm using the dome light as my light and also as my background. You can see the output or the multiplier for the HDRI that I have in my environment is 40. So I have to also increase the intensity of the dome light to 40. Okay, so I'm going to save this image in my history. So this is another really nice tool that we have. We have an edge here in the V-Ray frame buffer called history. You could save some images in the different stage to use as a comparison process during the rendering or during your project. So I'm going to save this render in my history, and I'm going to make the new render using the dome light. The dome light render, it's going to be slower, and the reason why the render is slower again is because we are using direct light. Because we are using direct light, we can have a very high quality render even with low GI setting. If you want to achieve the same result that we are going to achieve with the dome light. Oh, I forgot to rotate the HDRI to get the same orientation of the HDRI that I have in the environment. So I was saying that if you want to achieve the same quality that I could achieve with the dome light using only the GI light or the old workflow, you have to increase the GI setting so high that the rendering time is going to be slower than the dome light. Again, dome light is a little bit slower, but it's going to give you more contrast, a perfect image-based light solution. What I'm saying as a perfect GI solution, you can see now the shadows, sharp shadows in my facade. Also, we have even the wire here. You can see some shadows coming from that tiny wire. You don't see more definition because I'm using the webinar. I have to reduce the resolution of my monitor, so I have to make some render in low resolution. So that's why you see all the pixels here. But you could actually see the shadows of that wire, that it was impossible getting that shadows with the previous workflow. Also, you can see the nice contrast that we have between lighter, brighter areas, darker areas, and sharp shadows on the corners. Even the reflections is going to be improved. So I think that spending a little bit of rendering time really worth in this solution. Again, no object will be appearing floating in the air. Look at the shadows in this area here. So you could capture every single details of your architectural rendering or architectural model or any single model. I'm going to use the history again to compare. So I'm going to select the previous render that I did. I'm going to set that one as a B, and now we have a vertical line, and I could see the comparison process. In the left side, I have the DOM light render, and in the right side, I have the GI, global or the environmental rendering. So you can see how these shadows or this shadow here get lost in my previous render. You could also appreciate here the shadows and the contrast that we have. And you can see how with the old method, those shadows gone. Again, the shadows here in this portion is gone when we use the old method. So that's why DOM lights is really powerful feature to be used in your new workflow. So this is again the benefit to use DOM light, flickering free animation, gray caustic, perfect image-based light illumination, nice reflections, sharp shadows, no object floating in the air. Again, it's going to be, you're going to spend a little bit more time, but the rendering time worth compared with the quality that you are going to get, even with low setting on the GI. So this is all about DOM light for now. I'm going to close this. I'm going to open the sim that I'm going to use for RT. I have a question here. What kind of machine you are using? I'm using a box machine. It's a, I have 2 NVIDIA Titanium video card because I want to show you how GPU works with this machine and with the proper equipment. Okay. So basically it's the same scene, but I just changed the setting to be more according with the RT. If you see in the option, we have the ability to select or to change the parameter for the RT. The only thing that you have to do in order to enable RT is just click on the RT icon. RT is an interactive rendering solution, so you could see in real time the light changing, or it's very useful to set up your illumination. It's very useful to set up your materials, and it's going to allow you to visualize any change that you made to your model in real time. So this is the RT in the viewport, RT inside SketchUp. I'm using right now RT in CPU. So I want you, the feedback is really slow to the, we are doing a webinar. Believe me, if you are doing this on your machine, it's going to be absolutely great and without any steps. The feedback is really nice. So you could see that when I change the view, you could actually see the change on the view on the bit frame buffer. Okay, this V-Ray RT allow you to make some changes on the light, and you can see how the sun is moving in real time. You can change the date, and you could actually see how the light is acting in your model without having to re-render and re-rendering again. So it's pretty cool. I think this speed in CPU is very acceptable, considering that I have an architectural scene with full reflection and full refractions. I'm not faking anything, it's just full reflection. We have a pool there with reflection and refraction. We have some materials in those wood material that have a glossiness on it. Some of them have a mapping to control the reflections. So you could also change any camera parameter here. So let's say that the image is really bright and you want to to reduce the exposure of your camera. So I'm going to increase the shutter speed to 300. You could actually see the changes or the change in the RT in the viewport, in the visual frame buffer. Okay, that's pretty cool. I think this is really, really nice. This is going to help you to improve your workflow, spend less time working with materials, spending less time working with illumination, because you could calculate, or you could know where your sun is, what kind of a camera setting you want, just changing the parameter and having an instant feedback. Okay, again, this is great, but could be great if we could have 10 times this speed. Imagine having 10 times this speed. So right now, that is possible. Let me close this guy, and I'm going to change my RT engine to V-Ray, so to GPU CUDA. We support GPU OpenCL, which is all the additional video card instead of NVIDIA, and CUDA is for NVIDIA video card. So those are the two like video card languages that we support. Okay, I'm going to change my RT to GPU. I don't know if you remember the speed with the CPU, but let's see how fast is my rendering time. Yes, I have a math set that you could even show the RT to your client in real time, so you could work with him and decide what color you want, making decision on the fly, showing RT to your client, and working both in real time. I have a question here. If the RT support displacement? Yes, RT support displacement and support bump mapping. So this is the render with the GPU. So you can see how fast is the feedback and the response. Let's say that I want to go to the interior of this building. I want to go to the interior. You can see the refresh is absolutely awesome. But I want to change the sun to get more light, get it inside my interior. I want to change also the date. Again, let me increase the time to get more sun. You can see how we have a nice sun rays and shadows coming inside the interior, but my exposure is not right. And I want to show you a little tool that we include to the SketchUp UI is some preset. You can see here we have preset for interior, exterior, and camera. I have in my personal workflow, I also have preset for anti-aliasing. The cool thing about those presets that we have here is that you could save some portion of the preset. When you export, let's say that you change the camera exposure here to 200, to 300, right? You change the exposure of the camera. If you export those settings, V-Ray will compare the change that you made with the default setting, and the values that are different from the default setting, we are going to get those values that are different and create a VSUP only with those values. When you call that VSUP again, we will change only those values that are different from the default VSUP file. So giving us the options to make different category like camera. So by default, you can have different camera preset like after sunset, before sunset, clear sky. This misspelled should be cloudy, bright. So I'm rendering an interior, so I'm going to use an interior natural light. These interior natural lights camera presetting are very useful when you have open space like we have right now. So I'm going to select them and click apply. and you are going to see how the camera preset get changed, and my camera have, or my image have, a nice exposure right now. Again, this is just absolutely amazing, the speed that we have. You could go and just walk to the building, and I don't know if you could see the working process in real time because the lack of feedback to do a GoToMeeting. But you know, you can rotate. You could actually have an instant feedback of everything that you have in your scene. Now with GPU, I'm going back to the exterior because we changed the camera exposure. My exterior is over bright. So let me change my exterior to after sunset. I'm going to click after sunset, right? And we have the after sunset exposure. I'm going to stop the RT in GPU. I'm going to go to my layer, and I have some sphere light, which is another cool feature that we add in this new V-Ray 1.6 for SketchUp. Sphere of light is very useful as a field light, as lamp light. The difference between sphere lights and omni lights is that the sphere lights actually have a physical representation in the reflections. So you are going to see the actual size of the sphere in the material that have reflections. So I'm going to enable the lights, and I'm going to fire RT again. Let's wait a little bit until the parsing time. One thing that you should notice also is that the parsing time is really fast right now. So those sphere lights are illuminating my interior. So the idea is to have in my options have the camera preset to after sunset, which is the preset that I select, and then I'm going to move the sun to have kind of after sunset result. Let me increase a little bit the time. Well, that's too much. Well, let me change the month. Now I could increase a little bit the time, 8 p.m. And you can see that with RT GPU, it's extremely easy to set up your daylight shot, nightlight, twilight, any kind of a lighting setup that you want is going to be simple and very easy to achieve with the preset that we have, the camera preset, and the ability to see your change in real time. Now you don't have to worry about trial and error. Just click render. Let's see if my sun is fine. Oh, no, I have to increase the intensity. Let's stop the render and let's click render again. Those workflows are in the past right now. Those settings, mark as if those settings are available after the webinar. Those settings are available in the nightly build. So in the next release that you guys are going to have, you're going to have those presetting. Again, if you go to the option, we have interior presetting. In the interior presetting, we have test quality, low, medium, high quality, very high quality. The only thing that those presetting change is basically the image sample and whatever you have in the GI solution, whatever you have in the primary and the secondary engine, those are the only two options that those presetting are going to change. So they are not going to override your environment, for example. They are not going to override caustic. They are not going to override the output. So we are not bringing the whole VSOT file. We are just importing portion of the VSOT file, again, as the image sample, irradiant maps, and light cache, or if you were using brute force, it's going to be brute force. So those settings are pretty intelligent. And again, you could save using the export. You could save your own setting. In the options, you could add a new folder called, let's say, caustic, and all the caustic settings that you save, you could save those on the caustic folder. The next time that you open SketchUp, the caustic folder will be populated here in the category combo box. So this is what we have for you related to the RT on CPU and RT on GPU. Let's go to up. I just want to point out that this scene that I was using here, you can find that scene on Spot 3D. Let's see if you could actually see Spot 3D here. Oh, for some reason it's not working. Okay, I don't know why it's not working. Anyway, if you go to spot3d.com, you will find the SketchUp 1.6 help file, and you could click there, and all the way to the bottom, we have a tutorial section where you could find interior, exterior, proxy, dome light tutorials. And inside the tutorial, you will be able to download the file. For example, this scene that I'm using here belong to Bui Tuan Hong. Hopefully, I pronounced the name right. He's a cool guy. He's a V-Ray expert, and he's always helping us, providing us scene file help, in terms of the scene file for our webinar. Okay, having said that, I'm going to open a new scene, which is going to be the wrapper material. Matt asked, what kind of graphic card is your machine? I'm using I have two NVIDIA G4 Titanium for the UPU rendering. So it's a pretty nice video card, so I have two of them. This machine is pretty cool, but if you have one, as I show you, even with CPU, you could get a nice speed. Okay, so this scene that I'm using here belongs to Omar Esteves. Thanks to Omar and to Bui Tuan Hog for the scene file. The idea to this scene right now is to create a camera photo match. So basically, we create a photo match. We have an image in the background. So you can see the image in the background. I placed this image in the background using the style. I'm using watermark. So place the image that you want to use in the background as a watermark, and you will be able to see that. Also, you will be able to see the image if you use photo match, but I want to, for some reason, we don't fully support the photo match camera, so we have to tweak the scene a little bit to create a different camera very close. You can see that I intentionally change the camera for this scene, so I'm not matching perfectly the distortion in the left building. I just want to keep the building in the front and just replace the back building or the left building, but with this house. Okay, the idea of the wrapper material is to be able to cast shadows in a transparency plate. I just want to use exactly the same floor that this image have to cast some shadows. If I click a render right now, you are going to see that I'm going to be able to see the image, but I don't have any plane or any shadows at all. For example, according with the HDRI that I'm using, I should get some shadows in these windows in the photo, but I'm not getting shadows there. If you look closely, I'm getting shadows in this portion of the geometry because it's actually geometry, but I'm not getting shadows in the photo, in the image. And to be more realistic, I really need some shadows there. I really need to get some shadows in that building. Also, the car is floating in the air because I'm getting shadows in that floor. And the whole idea is to add some plane, some geometry, and apply a very nice material called wrapper material and make that plane 100% transparency, but still getting the shadows on that plane. So let me show you the geometry that I made. Okay, I create this geometry here. Most of the people think that in order to use the wrapper material, you have to use it on flat, perfectly flat plane, and this is not correct. You could use wrapper material in any form, any geometry, and because I want to get some shadows in the facade of the building, I also make some small details on my wall because I want to get some shadows in this area. I'm going to show you. I'm going to make a render right now, and you're going to see what we have. Okay, let me cancel this render. I'm going to use the override material in the global switches, and now every single geometry in my scene will have that particular color, and it's going to be better to see what I'm talking about, the shadows and the amount of shadows and the kind of shadows that I want to achieve. Okay, this is a render. I'm going to disable the distribution rendering. Okay, this is a rendering. You can see now I get some shadows in the wall that I did not have before. I also want to get these shadows in the actual picture, so that's why I model these small details. I also want to get these other shadows in the actual photo, just to improve the appearance of the model and the picture at the same time, just to increase the appearance of the composition. And I pretend to get some shadows in the car. Okay, so this is the process. I'm going to go to the materials, and I will create a new material called V-Ray, wrapper materials. I'm going to click there, and I'm going to rename material wrapper _1. And you can see we need a base material for that wrapper material. That base material could be any color, any materials. But I recommend you to have a color close to the color of the floor or to the color of the image or the information behind the materials. I'm talking about this color, close to this color, to the floor. So I'm going to go back to the material editor, and I'm going to create one. I think I already have one. No, I don't have one. So let me create one. I create materials. Standard. This time I'm going to create a standard material. It doesn't have to be a wrapper material. And the color something close to the floor. It doesn't matter. I'm going to rename this material, and I'm going to rename it as for wrapper. Okay? And that's the actual material that I'm going to use in the wrapper material 1. So change that material and use the for wrapper. Okay. Now I'm going to apply this new material to my wrapper material geometry, or the geometry that in which I want to cast shadows. Okay, so I'm going to apply the materials here, and I have to be sure that I apply the material in both faces. So I'm going to reverse the face, and also the wrapper material, you should be sure that the front material should be pointing to the camera. I don't want the material doesn't work if you have the back face pointing to the camera. So it have to be this way. Okay, so now we have the wrapper material applied to that geometry. Let me go back. And I don't have any setting at all on my wrapper material. So I'm going to make a render. Well, I forgot to disable the override options. So I'm going to cancel. I'm going to disable the override. And I'm going to render. You can see in the calculation, I don't have anything there. My material is still being gray, and the reason is because I have to enable the mate options. If I enable the matte options, sorry, I'm going to render again with the matte options enabled. Now look at that. My material is 100% transparency, but now I have a big problem. I'm not getting shadows. No shadows at all. And the reason is, I'm going to cancel. The reason is because I have to enable the shadows. Okay, now I'm going to click render. Now I have made, which made my material 100% transparency. Now I'm saying V-Ray, okay, I want transparency with mate, and I want shadows with the shadows options. And now, voila, you could get shadows on your floor, right? Shadows on the wall, and shadows everywhere. This is the power of wrapper material. Okay, and I don't know if you guys, I don't see any question asking me how you have a flat image on the viewport. I'm not using an HDRI, it's just a flat image. So I don't see any question. I thought that you guys are going to make me that questions, because this is a new that is a new feature that we have in V-Ray 1.6 also. We have the ability to apply flat images in our background. So I'm not using any geometry in my background. You see, I'm not using any geometry to as we used to do before to get information in my background. I make a plane and apply a material with the background image. Right now, I don't have any of those material, and this is the reason. In the reflection background, I have exactly the same image, but in my UVW type, I have environment, but now we have a new mapping type called screen. This screen mapping type allows me to put a flat image in my background. Okay? So this is absolutely awesome. You can see my alpha is different. I don't get the correct alpha, just in case you want to tweak the photo mesh in Photoshop. The reason is because I don't have the alpha, the effect alpha options enabled, and I have to change my alpha contribution to -1 to avoid getting the alpha of the plane and instead getting the alpha of the shadows. And also this option here, made for secondary rays, I have to change that option to all secondary rays. In this case, I'm going to get the image in my reflections. Right now, it's not very visible, but in my reflections, I'm getting the color of the plane. So by changing that options to all secondary rays, I'm going to get the image color in my reflection. Okay, so I'm going to make another quick render. You are going to see the difference between the alphas. Whoops, sorry. Okay. This could be georeferenced. I think so. Yes. You could apply the wrap material virtually to any geometry. Okay, now the difference between this render and the previous one was the alpha color. You can see now we have the alpha of the shadow instead of the alpha of the plane. So I could use this alpha to improve my render in Photoshop. Okay, so you are going to see all the alpha. I mean, I'm pretty excited because we have a ton of new features, and we only have 1 hour to show all the features. So I'm gonna just go directly to the proxy for the next example, and I think we should done with that. But we have a lot of new feature. I'm sorry, I was reading a question while I was trying to talk. I'm not able to do that yet. Okay, I'm gonna stop. I just wanted you to see the alpha when you enable the effect alpha and the alpha contribution to -1 in the wrapper material. Okay, again, thanks to Omar Esteves for the image. Let me open this file that you can download from Google Warehouse. I really like that small house. It's pretty cool. I think it's an amazing model. Very simple but very cool. It have glass, so you could get nice reflections. Have a nice wood material, so you could add some reflection and blurry effects on the wood. And it also allows you to add grass because it have a nice grass ground. So it's a pretty nice model to show you our proxy. The loading process is a little bit slow because I have a lot of proxy, a lot of information, high polygon trees on that model. So the loading process is a little bit more than the other rendering, than the other model. Proxy. What is proxy? Proxy allows you to save any geometry in your hard drive, and V-Ray will load that geometry only in the rendering process. Once you click render, V-Ray basically, in order to render the image, V-Ray use what we call bucket. Those square, those are bucket. So hold on, let me do something right. This is kind of a bug that we are trying to fix. Sometimes you get those image without any information. Right now I'm going to go to V-Ray. We have debugging, and I'm going to force all the materials. And now we should be able to see the information. So I was saying that every single bucket, V-Ray will call the proxy geometry only for those buckets, making the loading process and the proxy a very efficient way to save memory of RAM. It will give you, you could load million and million of polygon in your scene, and you will not have a crash due that you are running out of memory of RAM. So it's a very efficient way to dynamically load and unload models or geometry from your render. I'm going to explain that in an example. So I'm going to create a simple cube here. I'm going to use a push tool to push that cube. I'm going to make a line there, and I'm going to push this line this way. I'm going to make another triangle, and I'm going to push that triangle in this way. Okay, this is just an example of a simple geometry. I'm going to double click on the geometry, and I'm going to make a group of that geometry. So I'm going to also apply some materials to that geometry. I'm going to apply this one, and also I'm going to apply the other carpet material. So that materials or that geometry have two material applied to it, right? So let's say that that material are a very complicated, very high polygon tree, and I don't want to spend my memory of RAM loading the materials or loading the geometry in my scene, because even my feedback of the SketchUp viewport is going to be extremely slow if I have a two very high polygon tree. So the idea is to convert that geometry. Again, let's pretend that this is a very high polygon tree. I'm going to convert that geometry into a proxy. So we have two icons here for proxy. The first one is to export proxy, and the second one is to import proxy. So I want to export that proxy, to convert that geometry into a proxy. I'm going to click there, and then I have to select a name, to assign a name. I'm going to select test because we are making a test. Save, and then in this dialog box, I could change some setting for the proxy. One of the most important proxy settings is the set triangle count. By default, we have certain amount of polygon to represent the actual high polygon trees or high polygon model, but you could set the amount of polygon that you want to use to represent the proxy or the final high polygon tree. I'm going to let everything by default. I'm going to click OK, and you're going to see that we have a representation of that proxy tree, that proxy of that geometry that I made. Okay, this is just a low representation. Okay, so if I click render now, let me go back here to single frame and single frame in both, because I was using from file. Okay, if I click render now, you are going to see that that proxy is going to be visible as the regular geometry with the same materials, with the same amount of polygon, and V-Ray load that model during the rendering process. This is an example with the low polygon model, so because I want to show you how to convert proxy. If you go to the materials, V-Ray will create what we call a multi-material for that test mesh, V-Ray mesh, with all the three materials that we have applied to it. Okay, so this is a V-Ray automatically create the multi-material for that proxy. If you convert the proxy directly into SketchUp. If I import that material, that proxy, sorry, if I import that proxy, V-Ray doesn't support materials on proxy because we could use proxy on proxy from 3D Max, Maya, Soft Image. So now you could get some model from 3D Max, from Maya, from Soft Image, and use those models inside SketchUp as a proxy. And you have to forget now about using low quality sofa, for example, low quality bed, because SketchUp is going to crash if you use a high polygon model. With proxy, you could use those high polygon objects, and you will be able to have a nice render. Yes, thank you, Matt. Matt said that any OBJ file, you can convert any OBJ file with a tool called polygon to mesh. It's an option that we distribute with the software. So if you go to the CAD groups, SketchUp, tools, we have a tool called OBJ GeoPlay to mesh converter. You can convert basically, so you don't need to have 3D Max to convert any OBJ object to a proxy. Using this tool, you can convert any OBJ to a proxy. Okay, so that's the idea. Now, I want to convert any geometry. I can convert any geometry to a proxy, and in this case, I have a grass. So 3D grass that we convert to a proxy. Let me show you a render with the 3D grass. I'm going to select the 3D grass. Again, I'm going to the options just to avoid the calculation time. I'm going to use from file. I already saved the GI calculation for those, for the grass. So from file. So I'm going to click render. So again, the idea is to be able to use very high polygon geometry inside SketchUp without having a memory issue. Because SketchUp right now is a 32-bit application. As soon as you reach 3.2 or 3 gigabyte, if you see on my taskbar, SketchUp is using less than 1 gigabyte to make that render. And I have a really nice high polygon grass patch. But that's not only that. I could have trees and vegetation. So now I have trees that are proxy, right? Those 2D images represent a proxy tree, a real proxy tree. So I'm going to go back to my view. I'm going to enable the trees, the grass, and the vegetation. The only thing that is not proxy is those vegetation here in front of the building. But let's make a render. And I want to pay attention to the memory of RAM that I'm using while my machine is rendering. You can see we have 1.1 gigabytes. Again, 1.1 gigabytes, and I'm making a full rendering, high polygon tree, high polygon grass. Again, the rendering time is going to be a little bit slower, but we have more than 3 million polygons in this scene. Again, you can see the resolution that I'm using for the webinar. I have to make the rendering in low resolution, but believe me, this works even in high resolution. So I have high polygon trees, high polygon grass, and again, now using the low polygon model, for my rendering is something that should stay in the past. With this software, with V-Ray 1.6, you could have a professional render with professional model using proxy. Forget about using 2D object, 2D grass, 2D plans. No, this is something from the past. Now, this is the future. Proxy on SketchUp, RT on GPU. It's absolutely amazing. The proxy works in RT, with RT. Displacement is the same thing. It's a dynamic geometry. So we improve the way how we handle displacement. Again, at the rendering time, you can see all those buckets. V-Ray will call the displacement per bucket. So now we are not loading the whole geometry at the same time. No, it's just a matter of those buckets. The information that we are handling is just per bucket. This is why this render is really fast. Again, we have high polygon trees. Look the reflections, look even the speed is extremely fast using high polygon grass. I have two-side material on that grass to create translucency effect. I have two-side material on the leaf to create translucency effects on the trees, and absolutely amazing. I think me as a designer, I just want to use, I love proxy, I love RT in GPU and in CPU. I don't know if Kevin is there, if we have a little bit more time, or if I should done here.
Of course we have time. I think this is, Fernando, do what you do best. I think we can go over a little bit, and yeah, go for it.
Just to show the new V-Ray material, that's it. V-Ray material is basically the same material that you could find in 3D Max right now. Again, we have to, this is a beta version. We have to improve a little bit how the material works. But this is something pretty cool. I'm going to create a new material. You can see here material, create material, V-Ray material. This is a new material that I want to talk about. V-Ray material, as soon as you create a V-Ray material, I'm going to rename it just to, I'm used to rename the material all the time, V-Ray mat, so we know what is the material that we are working on. I'm going to apply that material to my geometry. Okay, apply that material. Right? Okay, let's create a render just to see if I have the correct exposure or the correct. See, I don't have the correct exposure. So let me go to camera. Let me put this guy 10 maybe. I have to light here. Let me select that light. I want to disable that light for now. Let's see what we have now. I have a question here for Christian. What's the multi-material force? Multi-material for? Multi-material is only to work with proxy. The multi-material doesn't work with any geometry. It's just for proxy, because when you import a proxy, it's a whole geometry. You cannot manipulate the proxy. So the proxy geometry have a bunch of material. Depending on how many material the proxy have inside, then you are going to have a multi-material with the same amount of material that you have in the proxy. Okay, this is the material. I'm going to run again. It's too big for the resolution. I'm going to reduce the resolution, and I think I'm 420, 360. Okay, I'm going to enable the material. The cool thing about this is that, by the way, we have a live update on the material too. So now you don't have to quick preview all the time that you make a change. Live update automatically create the preview. You can see we have this material is pretty close, as you could find in 3D Max. We have the diffuse layer, so you could apply any color there. and basically we automatically update the preview. You could say you could use a map here. If I'm going to use a map, let's say a bitmap, I'm going to create whatever, this one. No, that's too big. It doesn't matter, this one. Okay, you're going to see the bitmap on the preview, but if you decide that you don't want to use that bitmap, you could disable that bitmap just by clicking on the box, and then you will not use the bitmap. Also, we have different blending mode. So right now we have a multiplier mode. The multiplier means that this option here, this value here, if you increase that value, you are going to increase the exposure of the image. So the image is going to be brighter or darker. But if you change these options to blending mode, basically we are going to make a blending between the diffuse color and the mapping. So if I set 0.5, you are going to see 50% of the color and 50% of the mapping. This is awesome. So I'm going to disable that. Again, to create reflection, so you have to change the color as in 3D Max. Now you have a reflective material. Right now, we don't have the Fresnels enabled, so you can enable Fresnels just by enable the box. You don't have to go to the mapping and add a Fresnel's procedural mapping, so you could just create material as fast as you can just using those tools here. Let me create a render with that material. Another very cool thing about this material is V-Ray material is optimized to use a V-Ray core, so it's extremely fast. You can see the render is really fast. Even in blurry material, you could reduce the blurry here and increase the reflections to create more reflection. Let me create a metal. Then I disable the lock for the Fresnels. Then I can increase the Fresnel options. Let's set 50. And I'm going to click render. So those blurry materials, in the past we have trouble rendering them. Right now we're just extremely fast rendering those blurry material with the V-Ray material. It's more faster than the standard material. If you want to create gold material, for example, let's go back to a dark brown color for the diffuse, and I'm going to change the reflections to kind of yellowish, depending on the color of the gold that you want. And let me increase the blurriness or the glossiness. Now this is the gold material. You could create render. So the material creation with this V-Ray material is just absolutely fast and simple than ever. I still liking the standard material. Standard material is a very powerful material too. But this V-Ray material is just faster in terms of material creation. To create glass material, you have to enable to increase the reflections, the refraction. You can see how you can create a glass metallic material, which was very difficult to create before. Let me change those back to white to create a perfect glass material. So in overall, the material creation with this V-Ray material is just absolutely easy. It's amazing. You can see some transparency and even having the metallic looks because my Fresnels is really high. Let me go back to 1.5. So I don't want to take more time explaining the material, But this is it. The material creation is fast, it's easy, is fun. What else? It's just absolutely amazing. To be honest, I'm fell in love with V-Ray for SketchUp 1.6. I hope you guys fell in love too. So if you guys have some questions, I will try to answer up all of them. I don't know if Kevin, what we should do right now.
Okay. So
I think I missed a lot of questions. I don't want to go all the way to the front to answer the question. So maybe it's going to be easy just to answer the question by email, and we could put the question on your.
Yes.
I mean, it's up to you. You are the owner of the webinar today.
Oh, okay. Wow. Well, in that case, Fernando, I'm really happy to hear that you're in love with V-Ray 1.6. But let's see. Yeah, you were answering questions throughout the presentation, and let's see. All right. So attendees, since Fernando was answering questions, you guys can submit them. Email them to me. You can email Fernando as well. Fernando, what's your email if you'd like to share that with everybody?
Yes, my email is Fernando. Try to type here fernando.rentas@usa.chaosgroups.com.
Okay,
yes.
So I'm just going to press that into the chat window for everybody. Well, you just did that too. Awesome.
Yes.
Cool. So yeah, if you guys have any questions there, you guys can submit it there and to Fernando. And then also we'll take all the questions that we have right now in the chat window and then put them, format them, send them out to the Chaos Group team, have Fernando answer them, and then we'll post it as a blog post on our Novedge blog. Yeah. So I think that should suffice. Yeah. Yeah, so also Vahan, I will let you know about that in just a bit. So I guess we'll end the presentation here, Fernando?
That's fine for me.
Cool. All right, so also oh yeah. Go for it.
No, I just want to say thank you guys for being here. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed this presentation. I really enjoy work with CAD groups and learn what I'm learning during the development process of the V-Ray 1.6. It's been a wonderful experience, be part of CAD groups and be part of the making of the, be part of this cool thing happening in SketchUp.
Sweet. Cool. Okay, I will make me the presenter. I have some slides, so I'm going to answer questions from Juanita as well. So let's get to it. Here we go. Let me know if you guys can see the screen. All right, there we go. Should be good. Fernando, did you see that?
Yes.
Cool. All right, so yeah, I want to thank you guys on behalf of Novedge. I want to thank you guys for joining us today. Thank you to Chaos Group for featuring your showcasing V-Ray 1.6. This is the first ever in the United States, correct, right?
Yes.
Cool. Yeah. So yeah, we're going to work with Chaos Group to make sure that we have this on our product page. And speaking of product page, we have the current version of V-Ray for SketchUp on our Novedge.com website, and we'll be working with Chaos Group to make sure that the latest version is out. I think the beta is coming up as well, right?
Yes.
Cool. Yeah.
We don't have a date yet, but we hope like 2 or 3 weeks we release a new version or a final version.
Sweet. And then we'll be sure to share the news with you guys as well through our blog. Yeah, speaking of our blog, we're going to have the questions at blog.novedge.com. So that's the email, that's the web address right there. If you guys want to check out the latest answers and also, interviews with designers, that's a good place to check it out as well. If you guys want to find out the latest update for when the webinar is up on our channels on Vimeo and YouTube, facebook.com/Novedge, follow us, and then that'll be the quickest way to get the updates. So yeah, check it out. Yeah, so in our next upcoming webinar, we have Mark Tier from Black Spectacles, who's going to teach you and showcase and demonstrate how you can create beautiful drawings with certain techniques that can be only found in Autodesk Revit. So if you guys want to check that out, novedge.com/webinar/82. And if you guys have any questions, comments about V-Ray, any other questions about novedge.com and our product lines and stuff that we carry, email bob@novedge.com, and questions about webinars, email me at kevin@novedge.com. Yeah. So our channels are vimeo.com/Novedge and youtube.com/Novedge. So if you guys missed something, if you guys have to leave early, this will be a good place to check it out. And it should be out by late this evening. So, and definitely tomorrow. All right. In that case, I want to thank everybody again. Fernando, do you have any last words before we part ways?
Well, yes, I just want to thank you for your support and for for the opportunity to do this webinar with you guys.
Cool. And to our attendees, thank you again. Follow us on Novedge. Yeah, so at Novedge on Twitter. So, ciao. See you guys later. Have a good one.